And I'm going to jump off so my face is on here, and I will be monitoring the chat on the other side, Linda, for you, okay?
Awesome.
Okay. Thank
Awesome.
you. All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye.
All right. Well, I'm hoping that we have audio. I'm just going to double check again.
Quick question. Do I share screen? Yeah, okay. But when I click on share screen, am I going to get options? I forget.
Yes, you should get another window. You should get another window, and we do have audio. You should get another window, and then you'll just click on the main window, and then that way it'll share your entire screen, and then that way if you go to another link, you are able to, or somewhere else in your computer, everybody else is able to see it. Okay. So thank you. All right. Well, good morning, everyone out there. Happy Wednesday and Inauguration Day, and got lots of things in store for us too on JCPS Digital Learning. And if you're joining us live, go ahead and introduce yourself in the chat and let us know who you are and where you work, and make sure that you are vocal in your questions because we all learn from one another. And we have people here that are going to answer those questions on the backside. So we have a panel of panelists, as well as lots of power of pause today. I'm going to go ahead and let you know that we are starting off the day with Linda, and Linda is going to be talking about math, using math language routines and 3 reads with Solve and Share. And Linda, we are so glad to have you. How are you today?
I am great. Thanks for having me. I really enjoy doing this.
Good. Well, we are excited to learn from you, and if I can do anything to help you behind the scenes, let me know. And I will make sure that I also let you know if there's any questions that we need to address verbally. So I'll let you go ahead and share your screen, and we will get started.
Okay. All right. So let me share the screen here.
Perfect. We see it, and then once you, yep.
Okay. Awesome.
And those closed caption button, yep, you've got it, is right there.
I'm going to do the drop down right on that.
You can, and that will just make it move up to the top if you want, but we can see that.
All right.
Perfect.
All right. So I want you to imagine that all your students are understanding the math concepts that you teach. Well, this is what happens when you use problem-based learning. But how do you actually do this? Well, in this session, I'm going to show you how to use 3 reads, Grappling, and Envision Solve and Shares to make deep understanding of mathematical concepts accessible to all your students. I'm Linda Cortez, and I want to welcome K2 teachers. I am your partner for K5 Envision Math, and this is using 3 reads and routines with Solve and Share. Problem-based learning, where students collaborate in productive struggle for deeper understanding. Okay, so in this session, we are going to focus in on, first of all, reviewing what is the 3 reads protocol, and what is grappling. Then we're going to visit the Envision Math Support Padlet, and then we're going to dive into Envision Solve and Shares. And at the end, I have a special invitation for you. So first of all, here is just a summary of the 3 reads protocol. I know that the district has given you lots of support around this protocol, and it's an awesome way to start off a word problem or a complex problem. And in the old days, we used to call them story problems. And I love this comeback to the idea of the problem being a story. So in this protocol, you're going to read through the problem 3 times. The first time is just to find out, what is the story about? What is the situation? Sort of like if you were in language arts, what's the main idea of the story? And then you're going to revisit a second time with a read. And this time you're going to be looking for, what are the quantities in the situation? Of course, after you do each read, you're going to have some questions to elicit understanding and to make sure students are understanding what the problem is about. And then the third read is where you have students look for what mathematical questions you can ask about the situation. In other words, what is this problem asking us to do? All right, so what's really nice about this 3 reads protocol is it fits into this other strategy that we're going to work with is grappling with interesting or complex problems. And you're probably very familiar with what you see right now, which is your instructional framework. And that yellow arrow is pointing to the grapple with interesting or complex problem link. When you click on that, you're going to go to a really excellent video where a teacher is modeling how to use this strategy with students. And I'm not going to show that video to you, but I pulled some snippets from it, actually just screenshots, to kind of take you through the 3 basic steps. And what I love about these steps in this process is that they work perfectly with the solve and shares in your Envision. They fit right into the 3 steps of the solve and share. So let's look at what those steps are. So first of all is you engage the students and you allow them to grapple with the problem. Notice that this is before you give any instruction. Okay, so this is at the very beginning. You present the problem to them. Now, what's great about this step is this is where you would use the 3 reads strategy to help the students understand what it's about. Then you give them a few minutes to grapple with it on their own independently. After they've done that, they're ready for the second step, which is where they discuss it in groups or with a partner. And the idea here is they're sharing what they thought about during that independent grapple time. And now they're coming up with a group solution. As they're doing that, the teacher is circulating and helping with misconceptions, probing with some questions to help them take their thinking a little bit further. And when we get to the Envision, solve, and share, there's some additional things that the teacher does during this step that really help students not only understand the math, but it helps them scaffold their thinking from where they are to where they need to be with the standard that you're teaching. All right, so after they've discussed it in groups, then the third phase, I want to mention this. This is important, so we're going to take time right now. You want to make sure that you give your students some discussion norms. You probably already do this, but it's really important, especially virtually, that they know how they're supposed to interact and they have some support. This elevates the quality of their discourse and it makes sure that all students have a way to participate. So things like giving students roles. There's a leader who makes sure everyone speaks. There's a recorder. There's someone who reads the questions, someone who asks for help from the teacher if the group can't. You have whatever roles make sense for your students. Okay, and then it's nice to have these conversation starters. So if you're in your classroom, you would probably have a chart up and you would refer to these before you begin this portion of the grapple. Doing it virtually, you're probably going to have to call these up. And what I like to do, and what I show you how to do when I work with you, is pick a couple of them to focus on each time you do an activity. And you let the students know up front. You might say something like, okay, so when I pop into your groups, I'm going to be listening to see if you are agreeing and disagreeing. And I'm going to be listening really close to see what your reasons are for why you agree or disagree. Okay, students, go, then you send them off. Doesn't have to be a big, long lesson, just a mention of what you're looking for and listening for. Okay, so when they're through working in their groups, then it comes back to the whole group and the teacher focuses in on explicit instruction that was brought up through what she observed students doing in their groups. All right, so there we've talked about the 3 reads, how it fits into the grappling and the grappling process of 3 steps. So now we're going to hop over to a Padlet that's been created for you. Say it's been, I put this Padlet up. So any questions you have about it, you can certainly ask me. So here it is. Let's close that. Okay, so this is the Padlet for you, and I think you'll see it in chat. And if you're listening to this later on, it will probably be below the video. And hearing some feedback, so I'm doing something over here that might help. Okay, don't hear it anymore, so I think we're good to go. So in this Padlet, you'll see across the top, you have this first column that looks different than the others. We'll talk about that in a sec. But then you have going across grades K through 5, and for each grade, you have unit alignments to envision. And I'm going to pop one open to show you in just a minute. Let me point out this first column is going to be where you have some resources for getting help. So, for example, the very first one is my contact information. You'll see my email. If you click on that, it'll open up your email and you can send me a message. If you want to attend my open office hours and ask questions, you just click right here every Tuesday and Thursday, 3:30 to 4:30, little famous plug there. And then down below here in blue, you'll see each video that's been put up on the Learning Channel to support you. So you can see we have them. I started doing this on January 6th, so you see that one, the one from last week, and then this one will be added down here after this is put out. So now let's go into grade 1. And here you have, it opens up, this is for Unit 4, Grade 1. And you can see you can download it as a Word document. That's really nice because then you can edit it. But I'm calling your attention to this first column. This is where you'll find your standards for this unit. And these come straight from your curriculum framework. And there's even the note up here that the ones that are highlighted in red are your essential and the yellow are fluency. So it looks like in this unit, there's no fluency standards, but there are some essential standards. And then the second column is where you find, where is this in Envision? Where would I find lessons to support me? And inside each lesson, there are tons of resources. There's digital lessons, problem-based learning, that's what we're gonna look at today. Formative assessment, just anything you can imagine is there. So we're gonna look at this standard here, which is using addition and subtraction within 20, solve word problems that involve situations of adding to, taking from, putting together, taking apart, and comparing, and here's the kicker, with unknowns in all positions. That's kind of challenging to kids because they're used to seeing it in one specific way, and now it's like all over the place. And that's why that's an algebra standard. And so we look at Envision and we see, oh, well, topic 3 is about addition facts to 20 using strategies. And then specifically, if we go to lesson 3.8 or 3.9, we're going to have some good meaty word problems for the kids to work with. So we're going to go to lesson 3.8. So I'm going to come over here to my Savas Realize, and I'm going to go to grade 1 and see if I remember. You see I have a lot. You don't have that many. Don't worry about it. Okay, so when I open up my grade 1, I come down here and I find topic 3. So there it is right there. And when I open that up, I have some materials up here, some resources, and then I go into my lesson. So as I scroll down, you can see your strategies are count on to add using a number line, doubles, near or doubles plus, and so on. And then we come all the way down here to lesson 3.8, and this is where we're going to look and find our solve and share. So when I open up this lesson, again, there's so many resources. Just look at this. I mean, it goes on and on. But what we're going to look at, and by the way, wait a minute, I need to go way up. Okay, so we're going to look at this first step. And as you notice, in these lessons, there's a step 1, there's a step 2, step 3. But we are focusing in this session on step 1. And by the way, if you're doing these lessons, don't get alarmed and say, I can't do all that in one time. You would probably spend 2 days on a lesson, just realistically, depending on how important it is, if it's an essential standard. This is an essential standard. All right, so I'm going to open up the solve and share. So let's pretend that you're actually getting ready to teach your class. And this is what you would have showing for the students. And you can see there's your word problem over here. They have a workspace here. And then they have these tools. We'll talk about those in just a minute, okay? So we're going to start off with our 3 reads. The first read, I'm just going to play this.
Caleb has 4 more stickers than Zoe. Zoe has 5 stickers. How many stickers does Caleb have? Use objects.
Oops. Okay. So I meant to stop that before he says use objects, because in this 3 reads, I really want the kids to just focus on the story problem. So at this point, I'm going to ask a question like, okay, so what is this problem about? Or what's the story about? I might even use that word story, or I might say, what is this situation about if I had older students? But I think with the younger kids, I would say, so what is this story about? And someone might say stickers. So I'll probe a little bit further because I know what this is leading to. And I might ask, so who has the stickers in the stories? And they'd say, Caleb and Zoe. So then I'd say, okay, we're going to read it again a second time. And this time we're listening for the quantities, the numbers. You know, they might not know, what do you mean by quantity? So you might want to use the word, we're looking for the numbers. But kids can get used to the vocabulary you use as long as you explain it as you go along. All right, so you might call on a student to read it. You might read it yourself, but you're going to repeat it a second time. And this time you're going to ask a question like, so what quantities did you notice? And someone might say 4. And then you're going to ask, well, what does that 4 represent? And they'll say, how many more stickers Caleb has? And then you'll say, well, what other quantities do you notice? And they'll say 5. Well, what does the 5 represent? You're always asking, what did they notice and what does it represent? It's very important at this stage that the students know what the quantities represent. That's why I love this 3 reads, is because traditionally, students read word problems, they look for the numbers, and if there's 2 numbers, they know, oh, it's add or subtract. But, you know, that is not very efficient, and it's certainly not very showing very deep understanding of mathematics. Okay, so then you say, okay, now we're going to read it a 3rd time, and this time we are looking for what math questions can we ask, or what is the problem asking us to do? So you read through it again, and then you say, so what do they want us to do in this problem? What is the question we need to answer? And someone says, how many stickers Caleb has? So then, going with the rest of the grapple, first step, you say, okay, so let's take a couple of minutes to work on this. And then they work on it by themselves. And when they're working either with by themselves or with the group, they have these tools over here. And if you assign this portion to them, then they can submit their work to you and you can share it with the class through Envision. However, I know that a lot of you use Jamboard, and I think it would be awesome if they just took a clip and posted it on the Jamboard. That way you can see all of them sort of at once and highlight different ones you want to talk about. But anyway, so they have this drawing tool, okay? And let's say they don't like that, they can erase it. And I always kind of set the eraser up high just so I don't have to spend so long erasing, okay? Another way to get rid of it is to hit the trash can, and then that deletes everything. But if you just want a part of it, use the eraser. Okay, so let's look what's under here. Oh, look here, 10 frame. So I might decide a 10 frame would be a good idea, but let's see what else there is. Cubes, maybe not. I could use the cubes. Base 10 blocks, probably not. Ooh, money. Well, I can't wait till the day we get to use that one. All right, but I'm going to use a 10 frame. So you just move it over and you click to release it. You want another one. So I'm going to put one for Zoe. I'm just going to put a Z there. And this one will be for, I don't know why I changed colors. You don't have to do that. Caleb. Okay. And then I'm going to use, so, you know, a student might do something like this. Okay. I'm just showing you that they have these tools available. And then let's use a different color. Oops, different color for Caleb. So, all right, students aren't going to be perfect, so I'm not either. He has 4 more. All right, and then they have a place down here to answer, so they can either write it in with the pen, or I didn't show you this. There's a text box where they can enter their answer and then move it to where they want it. The text box is always going to show up here, but then you can move it where you want it. Okay? All right. So then they come back and they discuss it with their group. And so when they're in their groups, you're probably going to use some type of breakout group with them if you're doing this virtually. And they discuss it. And then you come back for the third part of it to do the discussion and move into the explicit instruction. Now I want to show you where you have support for this as a teacher. When I click on this, I find my teacher's edition up here. And when I click on that and I open it over here, oh, it looks big. Thank you very much. Okay, so every lesson has this first page that goes through focus, coherence, rigor. Over here on the left bottom, it shows me the resources I need. And notice it says watch, listen, and look for lesson video. We're going to talk about that in just a second, but I'm going to flip the page. And here on the right, you see that solve and share problem. And on the left, you have all this awesome support. Now notice the big blue capital letters in bold: before, during, after. And the before is whole class, the during is small group, and the after. Do you see how these 3 steps fit perfectly with the grappling stages? So in the before, it tells you what you're going to do. The only thing you're really adding to this is the part where the students work independently. But a lot of teachers, they've been doing that anyway. And I always kind of show teachers to do that as well. In blue, you have these great questions that are suggestions to ask. If you're a veteran teacher, you probably have some really good questions as well. Then the during part shows you questions that you can use to help kids when they get stuck or they maybe don't even know where to start. You have some very good questions there that you can ask them. And then, so in the during part, remember I said you're doing a little bit more than what's described in the grappling. So while students are working in groups, you should be popping in and out of the groups, circulating and looking at the student work. And you're looking for specific student work that will later on in your discussion, you'll be able to share out in order so that you can scaffold from the lower level of understanding to the greater level of understanding that's going to take you right directly into your explicit instruction. There's even this great stuff right here where it says extension. In case you have a group that finishes really quickly, you have this extension where it's an idea for what they can do while they're waiting on the others to finish. Okay, so there's one, And down here, so how do you know what kind of work to look for? We have this at the bottom, so it shows you examples of two students who did the problem. Lucy's work looks kind of like mine, but Darren had a misconception. So you would probably, while they're working, try to capture that and ask some questions to guide them around that. Now, there's another resource for where you can get help with knowing what work to look for. And it's back here. So remember your solve and share was right here. It's called problem-based learning, solve and share. But up above here is this really, really helpful video called Listen and Look For. Remember that was mentioned in the teacher edition to look at that? So they look like this. They're very short. This one is 2 minutes, 16 seconds. We're not going to look at the whole thing, just part of it.
The essential understanding for this lesson is objects, drawings, and equations can help you solve different types of word problems. Previously, students used subtraction to solve comparison problems in which the lesser amount was unknown. In this lesson, students use objects, drawings, and equations to solve a variety of addition problems, with a focus on comparison problems in which the greater amount is unknown.
Hey, do you notice the coherence there? They told you what they did previously and what they're going to do now.
This problem is key because students are
And this is the exact problem that's in the solve and share.
asked to solve a comparison problem and show their thinking. Listen and look for students who do not make correct sense of the problem. Some students may read the word more and think that they need to subtract because more is a comparison word. They may make a drawing to show 5, cross off 4 to model subtraction, and write a subtraction equation to match the drawing. These students will incorrectly conclude that Caleb has 1 sticker. To help students identify their error, have them reread the problem and underline the information needed to solve the problem. Ask questions such as these to help students understand that this is an addition situation. Do you know how many stickers Caleb has? Do you know how many stickers Zoe has? Who has more stickers? How many more? How can you find the number that is 4 more than 5? Listen and look for other students who use addition to solve. They may start with a drawing to show Zoe's 5 stickers. To show how many stickers Caleb has, they draw a second group of 5 to match the 5 stickers Zoe has. Then they draw the 4 more stickers that Caleb has. Finally, they write an addition equation to match the drawing for Caleb. Caleb has 9 stickers.
Okay, so you see there, you have different examples of what kind of work to look for, okay? Now, I'm going to hop back here and go over a couple more things here. So first of all, if you're planning to do this, what are the steps you need to go through? So first of all, you're going to want to select the solve and share that matches your standard. Next, you're going to watch that listen and look for video. It's going to help you know what to expect. However, you know your students, and they always come up with different things you didn't even think about. So you need to do the math and do it more than once. Work it 2 or 3 different ways that you think your students might work it, and try to scaffold those different ways. Really think about the math that's involved. Then you're going to determine what student work you're going to look for and how you're going to scaffold it from what you've worked on and what you've seen in the video. The next thing is, how will your students share with partners or small groups? Are you going to put them in groups with partners, breakout groups, all the logistics? And then how will groups share their work? Jamboard maybe, that would be my suggestion. And then determine what good questions are you going to ask, okay? So this was a walkthrough on how to use 3 reads and grappling with Envision Solve and Shares. Your next step, guess what, is to reach out and contact me for support. I invite you to do so. I am so happy to work with you individually or with a group, with a PLC. I can do things like model a solve and share where you're the students and you actually experience it and see what all the steps I go through as a teacher. I can support you, help you planning for Solve and Shares. I can support you in a lot of ways that will help you dive into using your Envision Math resources. So please contact me. There's my email. Open drop-in office hours every Tuesday and Thursday, 3:30 to 4:30. And remember that Padlet, it's down below the video. When you click on that, it'll take you to my contact info where you can just click on it and access it so easily. Okay, so I thank you so much. This has been awesome. And reach out to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. And yes, as Linda just said, that information is going to be down below in the resource, as well as linked on the schedule that you see, the living schedule for these sessions. And not to take any more time, I know we've got another session coming up at 9 o'clock here right now. We have Bernita and Robin. Good morning. How are you, ladies?
Well, how are you?
We're doing
Good
well.
this morning.
Doing well. I'm here to support you. My name is Elaine Abenatha, and I here work with the Digital Innovation Team. And I'm letting you know if I can do anything. Also, if you're watching live, just make sure that you drop in your name and where you work, and then also let us know if you have any questions, because they have a bunch of people in the back behind the scenes here to answer and to help.
Thank you, Miss Elaine, and everyone. Welcome to My View Digital. My name is Robin Talbot Porter, and co-presenting with me today is Miss Bernita Mosley.
Good morning, everyone.
Today, we are hoping that we will be able to show you the ways in which you can integrate the e-text into the tools and resources that are available on the Realize side to craft those powerful lessons. So let's take a look at today's agenda. Today's topics, we will have an opportunity to explore the JCPS Padlet resources, navigate the Savvis Realize platform, look at ways to teach with tech, and we'll have an opportunity to look at the various digital teaching tools that are available. The learning goals for today. We want to be able to help you to integrate those e-texts into the JCPS curriculum framework and integrate the Realize platform resources to craft powerful lessons. We want you to be able to customize, to differentiate your instruction, and to teach with tech to enhance your lessons through the digital resources. So before we can begin, it's important for us to look at the Padlet resources that were designed specifically for you. Here is the JCPS digital resources for My View, and there are some ReadyGen components as well. If we take a look at column 1, you will notice that we have office hours. Bernita and myself are available to you on Tuesdays and Thursdays between the hours of 3:30 and 4:30, and you can join us by way of the link that is listed below. In addition, we've added a video that will help you to add products if you have not done so already. And then finally in this column is a distance learning guide, which has a lot of tips and resources. Looking at column number 2, you will notice that we have the JCPS modules 2 and 3, book pairings and formative assessments. We're going to take a look at an example from module 3 for grades K through 2. What I want you to notice about this document is the way in which things are laid out. You will notice that there is representation from each program, My View and ReadyGen, and that we have both book pairings and formative assessments for each grade level. We're going to look at an example from module 3 for grade 2. And what I want you to notice is the way in which this document is formatted. Here you will see the guided reading opportunities by way of grade level spans, the assessments, the comparison between the JCPS curriculum framework and the Savvis My View units of study. And if you scroll down a little bit more, you'll see second grade, module 3, and the broader topic of the history of Earth. And below that are the 3 compelling questions. It was our goal to pick 2 or more compelling questions to guide our book selections. What I want you to take special note of is the format. Each format will begin with the title of the text, the author, the Lexile or guided reading scores, the informational text or the genre from which it comes from, as well as the location of the text. You will see that Disaster Alert is located in grade 2, unit 5, week 1, lesson 1. Now we're going to take a look at an example of a formative assessment piece. In looking at second grade again, we're going to look at the way in which the formative assessment pieces have been formatted. Keep in mind that the same format will follow all through grades K through 5. Here, we're taking a look at that same module, History of Earth, and the compelling questions. But what I want you to pay close attention to is the format. Beginning in the first column is the title of the text, the item focus skills, key ideas and details, the standards, the location of the text, and the formative assessment pieces that are critical in ensuring that students are moving towards mastery. And you will notice that there is a preview, review vocabulary, as well as some critical questions that you can ask to determine your next teaching steps. We're going to look at an example of this from the lens of grades 3 through 5. We're going to look at module 3 for my view, and we're just going to take a look at the assessment piece so that you can see the way in which it is formatted. Again, the compelling questions, the broader topic. The first column has the title, the item focus skill or the standard that's being addressed, the informal assessment pieces, as well as opportunities to discuss the book, all leading to mastering that particular standard or standards that are being addressed. Moving forward on this Padlet, you will see the My View navigation pieces. You will see the digital tour, the playlist for creating the playlist digital path, the customization, the differentiation, and the intervention pieces, all digital paths. In the next column, you will see the My View Book Club trade books, which are opportunities for you to assign independent reading for students or groups. And then moving forward, you'll see the foundational skills that me and Ms. Bernita will be presenting in the month of February. And here you see the My View scope and sequence. And under that, you will see the ReadyGen foundational skills pieces. You've had an opportunity to look at the various Padlet resources that have been designed for you. It is our hope that you will view them at your leisure. Next, we're going to look at an example from grade 3, module 3 of the book pairing and formative assessment for leaders of change. And in looking at this document and looking at the text itself, we notice that we're focusing on leaders who have worked tirelessly to stamp out injustice and inequality. In addition, we're asked to compare and contrast two different texts. And so the text that accompanies Leaders of Change is Inspiring Kids, which is a text about students and children who are role models, and they too are leaders. In looking at Leaders of Change through the lens of the standards that must be addressed, we're looking at standard RI 3.7, identifying and explaining by way of visuals, diagrams, graphs, photographs, and sidebars. And we know that this is all important to contribute to the meaning of the text for students. In addition, RI 3.9 focuses on explaining the relationship between two or more texts on the same theme. And as we look at ways to leverage those e-texts and to marry the resources and tools that are available on the Realize platform, I'd like you to keep those standards in mind, RI 3.7 and RI 3.9, because as we navigate to the Realize platform, we're going to be marrying items with those particular standards. So let's navigate to the Savvis Real Life platform. Remember, you're going to be logging in by way of Clever and your EasyBridge. And once there, you'll come to the sign in page. You will need to put in your username and password. If it doesn't alert you to that, you'll land here on the dashboard, and going across the top, the tabs will indicate where we'll start our work. We're going to look at the magnifying glass, and here I'm going to type the title of the story, Leaders of Change, and hit the search button. Once I've done that, you will notice that everything with that title will appear. You will see the text, you will see the teacher's guide, you'll even see a PDF change booklet, which will be able to be downloaded and printed out if you need to. Here, Leaders of Change can be assigned, added to a playlist. You can gather more information, and there are also teacher resources that accompany this text. Later in today's presentation, Ms. Bernita is going to show us how to teach with tech and use this particular Leaders of Change as an example for you. I'm going to go into a grade level, looking at grade level 3, because that is where our focus is in regards to our standards alignment. And in looking at grade level 3, going down the table of contents page, you'll see lots of resources for you. The Student Interactive is one that you want to make sure you pay close attention to, because you can use this to support your anchor text as well as your supporting text when you're trying to play those videos. In addition, you see your units of study here. You'll see animation, assessments, book clubs, essay score, foundational skills, leveled readers, small groups, text complexity, and a lot of other resources as well. But for our purpose here today, we're going to scroll into the animation video, keeping in mind that one of the standards that we want to address is compare and contrast. And here we're going to pull up a video that will demonstrate for students how to compare and contrast.
Compare and contrast. When you compare, you find what makes things alike. When you contrast, you find what makes things different. In what ways would things be alike? In what ways would they be different?
That is one example that you could use for comparing and contrasting. I'm going to go back to the table of contents. And this time, as I scroll down, I'm going to go into the Download Resource Center. And here I'm looking for an item that will support all of the standards that have been addressed in this particular formative assessment, which is 3.7 and 3.9. And one thing that I'd like to do here is I'd like to go into the extension activities. The extension activities are designed to provide you with more formative assessment data about how students are performing in regards to those standards. I'm going to pick an example from Unit 2, and here you see a Share Idea menu. This menu is designed for students to demonstrate their learning and to provide you with some insight into how they are progressing in mastering standards. One thing that I would choose would be a slideshow presentation, which would fit into 3.9, where students can compare and contrast. Another might be an infographic that would map on to 3.7. A podcast or a video are also other things that you could choose or allow students to choose from to demonstrate their learning in regards to those standards. And another example will come from Unit 3. Here, you will see a nonfiction response menu, and here you would have students choose an activity of their choice that would map onto a particular type of genre. And here we're looking at expository, and there's opportunities for students to design items of choice. If we go down, we'll see that there is a fiction response menu for general, such as comparing and contrasting a story with another story that is similar. What ways is it similar and what ways might it be different? Going down, we could lift the characters from a particular story. We can lift the plot and setting. or if we wanted to focus on just vocabulary, we could do that as well. Moving back, I want to take us into the table of contents again in the Resource Download Center. And this time we're going to look at an interactive trade book read aloud resource for nonfiction. And we're going to look at the idea of comparing and contrasting. Note that there are teacher resources here, as well as an opportunity to present a diagram that will help students to compare and to contrast. With that being said, I think it's now time for me to turn it over to Ms. Bernita. Ms. Bernita will take us forward in today's presentation.
Thank you so much, Robin, very much. Thank you, thank you. At this time, I'd like to welcome you as we explore the book Leaders of Change by Sherry Doyle. How many of you recognize some of the leaders in this book? We have the Dalai Lama, we have Nelson Mandela, we have Jane Goodall, we have Malala Yousafzai, we have Roberta Menchu Toon. All of these, except for Jane Goodall, won peace prizes for their leadership in advocating for the people where they live. Today, we're going to explore Reading Informational Text 3.7. We'll be looking at visuals, including but not limited to diagrams, graphs, photographs, and sidebars, all embedded within the eText Leaders of Change. eText will be utilized, and the tools that we'll use today will be from informational text features. For those of you that have not logged into Clever for the first time, there is a quick link in the upper left corner. Once you click on that, you will get to Savvis Easy Bridge. Once you load that, in the bottom right-hand corner, there will be 3 panels that will appear. Easy Bridge realizes where you want to go. You will have to just initially set up your account, select your grade levels, select the programs that you will utilize. We hope that you will put in for grades K through 5, MyView, and also ReadyGen Common Core for grades K through 6. Type your name as you would like for it to appear, and also select an icon, and that will take you to the landing page of Savvis Realize platform. At which point, I am here, and the book again is Leaders of Change. The only thing you have to do is to type in the title, and the book will appear. You can assign it or read it just from this landing page with the audio feature, word by word highlighted. What I would like to do at this time is to take you to the Google Classroom side of it. And I'm now under the stream in Google Classroom. I'm thinking as a teacher, I'd like for my students to have an opportunity when dealing with a complex informational text to build background. I don't know what they know. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, give them an introductory message. Please listen. This is my way of assessing what they already know about the leaders in this e-text. Here is the graphic organizer that was referenced, noticings, connections, and wonderings for Leaders of Change. I just want to, again, assess their background knowledge. Let me return to Google Classroom as a teacher. I also like to give them background information regarding the skill that will be learned as a result of reading this e-text. I found this one. I'm doing a lot of customizing. Please listen to this one. All right, and so that's just a little bit of the video on text features for the students. So all of this is to help students prepare to read. Now I'm going to go to classwork, and I have already created a topic entitled Leaders of Change. And one additional thing, the book has been assigned to the students. And before I go into the book, I'd like to explore the vocabulary words for each story. So they will have to keep up with this word log throughout the year. They'll provide a date, the vocabulary word, the text that they were reading when they encountered the unfamiliar word, and the definition, which can be taken from a glossary or throughout the context of reading the story. Another tool that I would like for them to utilize is they can work with a partner and share their top 4 words from any selections. And with me, they will probably give 1 or 2 words that were their favorite. Now I'm ready to go into the Leaders of Change book, and I'll ask it to take me there now. And I'm logging in. Prior to me assigning this to the students, I have already highlighted some of the text features in this book, and I'll need it to open in a new window. And it is loading now. I'll go to the menu in the upper right-hand corner. Again, I am preparing to read. I'll notice the vocabulary and title page. This text also has an opportunity to build background, so we'll just play a few seconds of that. Okay, and so the students will have an opportunity to get information about some of the leaders. And so we are looking at a text feature, the title of the selection. What I'm going to do in the upper right-hand corner, I'm going to close the table of content because I have already marked some bookmarks that are very significant for the skill that we will be addressing today. On page 3, I need the students to see that there is a table of contents, and there's an annotation noting here by this icon that the students will be asked to label or annotate whatever the text feature is. On pages 4 through 5, we have a heading. On pages 6 through 7, we have a subtitle. On pages 10 through 11, we have a sidebar, which references the Nobel Peace Prize. So these are the text features, and on page 32, most importantly, I will reference the students to the glossary when they need to provide a definition for an unfamiliar word, and the index as well. So if I can just make sure that the students understand the core text features in this informational text, I would have achieved my goal for this particular lesson. Let me go further in classwork. Now I'm ready to do some close reading. As a teacher, this text will probably take me throughout the entire week, with the first day being an introduction of theme and genre. Then the second day, I'll probably do a shared read. The third and fourth day, we will be doing close reading, which takes me to this point and this activity. I need the students to select 2 leaders. There are several within this text. They're to tell me why this particular leader impressed them. I am one where students need to cite evidence for me, so they'll need to give me a page number, writing the evidence beside that, and what was it about this leader that impressed them. It's about text to self connection, and this is an opportunity for the students to share that with me at that time. Going down, as I prepare at the end of the week to assess and differentiate, I'm going to open this graphic. It came from the Student Download Center extension activities. There were several listed that Robin just shared with us, but I narrowed the focus. For now, I want the students to express what they know, perhaps through a newspaper article, a digital poster, a brochure, or a slideshow presentation. This must have a rubric that is attached to it so the students will know what it is that I'm looking for, so they'll know I tried to grade this as objectively as I could. The students will also have another tool to assist them as they assess and differentiate. I have prepared for them some slides. They can reference these slides as they go through to do their final presentation. As I prepare to close today, I would like to leave you with a virtual tip. Each week, Robin and I will try to give you a virtual tip. And it comes from today, the grading aspect of this. I have customized and provided the students with a lot of activities that I need to grade. This note says, all submitted assignments from Google Classroom appear in your Realize Teacher account. That's very important. Here comes the major part. Please grade all work using the Realize functionality. That means grade everything on the Realize side. Don't grade it in Google Classroom. Go back to Realize to grade. And the last sentence is also important. Results will be posted on both Realize and Google Classroom. So as you prepare all of your work in Google Classroom, go back to Realize for scoring purposes. I was very impressed myself with Malala Yousafzai, and her statement was, one child, one teacher, one book, and one pen can change the world. Please follow us on Twitter. You see Savvis1, JCPS/Savvis, P+ coaches. We have our calendar of trainings located there and other important information. We look forward to joining you again on the Digital Learning Channel on Wednesdays from 9:00 a.m. to 9:30. Our upcoming calendar will be on January the 27th, 21. Students will be able to participate with ReadyGen Digital Exploration. Those that are 10, ReadyGen, we're going to explore ReadyGen. On February the 3rd, 21, I will be doing MyView Foundational Skills for K-2, and then the following week, Robin will be doing MyView Foundational Skills for grades 3 through 5. We look forward to you joining us during our office hours for MyView and ReadyGen. Our day is Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3:30 to 4:30. Please join Robin Talbot Porter at robin.talbotporter@savvis.com or myself, Bernita Mosley, at bernita.mosley@savvis.com via the Zoom link at the bottom of this slide or in the resource section from the channel today. We are most grateful to join you on Wednesdays, and thank you once again for sharing your time with us. Please know we are here for you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Looking forward to seeing you soon.
Yes, thank you guys so much. And I loved all those resources that are there right there at your fingertips. And that tip is big because I know that we've talked about that previously, about making sure that you grade everything in Savvis and it just automatically goes, which is so nice. So nice. Thank you for that. Again, like they said, those resources are going to be below the video that you are going to be watching if you're watching on demand. If you are not watching on demand, those resources will also be linked on the schedule for today, so make sure that you check those out. We have up next for 9:30, we have Math 6 through 8 doing differentiation with Chris Peterson. Hello, Chris, how are you?
Good morning, Elaine. Thank you for having me. How are you this morning?
I'm doing all right, So if you need help, I'm here to support you, and we are excited to learn from you. And let us know if you have any questions in that chat as well. We learn from one another and by answering and listening to each other's questions. So they have a whole team that is back there making sure that those questions get answered. All right, Chris, let's see if I can help you with anything, just let me know. I'll be happy to assist with any technical things that you may have.
Only thing I don't see is the closed captioning for me.
Oh, okay. So now you're going to go to your presentation and then press present. And then there you go. Yep, you got it.
Super. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm Chris Peterson. I'm the 612 math consultant from Savas and working with JCPS, and I'm excited to be here. A couple of little pieces. One, if you're new to getting into our material, you're going to go to your Clever page, your Clever landing page, and you're going to look for your Savas Easy Bridge. Okay, it's going to be your Easy Bridge icon on your desk. There's a little place also you can start to make one of your favorites. And you're going to use that Easy Bridge icon to set up your Savas Realize. So that's how you're going to go about getting into this, to the Savas materials and programs. And that's where you're going to look. Go to Savas Easy Bridge off of your Clever page. And then you're going to set up your Savas Realize account and link your Google Classrooms and all of that nice stuff. If you need help with that, I'll be happy to help you. We also have a customer success manager, Laura, who is also happy to help you with that also. Kelly, I think Kelly or Linda are monitoring my chat, and maybe they can put the email links in there for myself and or Laura if you're going to go that route to get her to help you. Okay? Go ahead and looking ahead. Next week, I'll be back on as a whole 6 to 12 math group, and we're going to be looking at assessment within Envision. All the assessment pieces that fit into your assessing students, not just summative, but also diagnostic pieces and formative pieces that will lend themselves to you understanding how your students are truly doing on a daily basis using some of our assets in our program. So that's next week, assessment within the Envision program. Today, I want to talk to you about differentiation. In this virtual time of school, differentiation might be one of the most difficult pieces of a teacher's job, looking and seeing where students are struggling, knowing which students are struggling. So let me show you some of the pieces within the Envision 6-8 program that I have identified that will help you accomplish this. We're here at our Savas Realize landing page, Browse, Classes, and Data. So we're going to go into the Browse, and today for this session, I've got my favorite one starred for middle school. I'm going to use the 7th grade program. I used the 8th grade with the school yesterday, so I'm going to use 7th grade today just to be a little bit different. First of all, we're looking for differentiation pieces, okay? And we're at the program level. Whenever you see the table of contents, that's the program level. That's how we refer to it. And we're going to look over here in the right sidebar, and we're going to click on the teacher resources. And there are a lot of pieces here that are valuable, okay? But the one I want to focus on is this language support handbook. I want to look at this for a few minutes and discuss it with you. The language support handbook, you may think, well, that's for ELL students, but actually it's not. It is, but it's not geared just towards them. The language support handbook is for all students to learn and use those language modalities within mathematics: the listening, the reading, the writing, the speaking, and the representing, because math is a language of representations, whether we're using pictures or fraction bars or different things like that. So this language handbook is set up to incorporate during your instruction to differentiate for those students who may struggle with that math language. And what it is, it goes through some nice pieces. We can look here at the rigorous task and the productive struggle. You guys at the school district call it grappling, okay? We refer to it as productive struggle. So it's there for you. And just a lot of nice pieces that talk about the math and the language in math, okay? But what I want to get to, I want to skip on down, and I want to find and show you that it's a little too far. Here we go. Every topic in the Envision math program has a language support activity. In the 7th grade program, there are 8 topics, okay? And I would guess that probably teachers are somewhere around this topic 5, solving problems using equations and inequalities. Okay? So I'm going to skip down to topic 5. You can see that as I scroll through, it's got them for topic 1. Every lesson Every lesson has an activity in that language area of math development. Okay, but I'm going to get down to topic 5. A little bit more. Here we go. And you can see that it introduces a new topic, a new vocabulary phrase, okay, to your students. Also, it covers any language, any vocabulary that might have been covered in previous units. And students should be aware of those, but that's to give you warning that they may have forgotten what those terms mean. So you may want to look as you use those for that language to be implemented into your classroom, into your instruction. Okay? Getting down, each lesson, you can see each lesson has a suggestion for developing that language. And here we see those 5 modalities right here. Okay? It shows them to you. The nice thing about this, okay, is it gives you stems. Okay, you guys in the district call them stems. I had a nice chat with Samantha, and it gives you stems that you may use. Okay, guidance for how you're going to use and incorporate this language of math into your instruction. So in each lesson, it gives you that. It tells you that there are math phrases that students might use during the visual learning example. Okay, it tells you the questions that you may want to focus on to incorporate those modalities to learn that language of math. Here we are. What is the unknown? What does the variable b represent? Is there a constant? How do you know? So it's directing teachers towards those activities that they can use during their instruction to build that math language in our students. Okay? Every lesson, lesson 5.3, lesson 5.4, and it's always giving you, okay, suggestions of how to word this, how to interact with your students to develop that math language. Okay, so topic 5, it continues all the way through the lesson, and this is just a real nice piece to help develop that language in math. Okay, and Kelly or Linda, if there are any questions in the chat, feel free to jump in. And if somebody has a piece that they want to mention, how they would use it in their classroom, I'm more than happy to let them jump in. But this language support handbook is a terrific piece to address these 5 modalities and developing our math language for students. All right, so going on. Yes, I'm sorry?
Hey, Chris, I have a question for you. I think people might want to know, how could they get some help from you if they wanted to know more about how to actually use these strategies you're talking about?
I'm going to ask Kelly or Linda to post my email in the chat box. It's real easy, chris.peterson@savas.com. And I also have a Cloud HQ link that they can go to. It would be posted in the chat, and the Cloud HQ is where they can schedule a conference with me. Okay, it's set up there to schedule 30-minute conferences. I can meet with individuals. I can meet with your curriculum grade level. I can meet with the whole school. I met with Ramsey Middle School yesterday and had a terrific time with them and really enjoyed it, and learn from them, and they learn from me, hopefully. Okay, so if you'll get that posted in the chat for me, I sure would appreciate it, please. And Linda, I just sent you and Kelly my Cloud HQ link. I realized that I had not done that. Okay.
You got it.
All right. Thank you very much. So the language support handbook is the first piece I wanted to cover for differentiation. Okay. The intervention lessons, if we're still here in our program level, okay, we're going to scroll all the way down past every topic, and we're going to look right here at these intervention lessons. Now, these intervention lessons are actually from our math diagnosis and intervention system, but you can assign them individually. If you know that a student is struggling with one specific area, Okay. If you know that student is struggling with fractions, okay, making sense of fractions, look through these pieces, okay, and you can look into it, all right, and it breaks it down into different ones, and you can assign them, okay. Let's go in and look and see what it looks like. I'll show you. Intro, how can I use 1/2 to compare? It gives them a nice little video to learn about that 1/2 to compare, and it has different screens for them to go through and look at these intervention pieces and videos, and then some click and drag pieces that you want to work on that the student can practice on. Okay. Alrighty, so that's how it goes, all like that, click and drag. Interactivities, lessons for struggling students that need that differentiation. Okay. So these intervention lessons, let me show you once again how I got to them. It's in your program level. You're going to scroll all the way down past the topics. And it's right here in the intervention lessons part. Okay? It's divided into clusters for what area of math that student is struggling with. I went to the fraction number sense. Okay? We'll say equivalent fractions. And then you get to that activity, and if you preview it as the teacher and say, yeah, this is nice, this is what this student needs, you would go back to it and you would assign it to that student right here using this. Okay. So the intervention lessons are a nice piece. I hit the back button. Let's not do that. We like for you to use this the green back arrow in our program. Alrighty. So anyhow, at the program level, I've shown you the language support handbook over here in the drop down, and also I have shown you the intervention lessons down at the bottom of our program level. Let's go into a topic level. So let's use topic 5. That's probably about where teachers are in their school year. So let's go in here and look at the topic level for the intervention pieces. Now, these next 2 pieces I'm going to show you, you're going to wonder, how are they considered differentiation? But they are, okay? Not necessarily the differentiation of instruction, but differentiation of how students can show us what they know, okay? The STEM project, okay, is a great way for students to show you what they have learned outside of the math world. Okay? It's a STEM project that's related to the science, technology, engineering, and math and all that. Okay? So this is a great way for students who need that differentiated learning to show you a differentiated method of what they have learned. So I consider, and many people that I work with consider these STEM projects differentiation. The next one is right below it, the Pick a Project. Okay? This is the place where students get to choose their project they work on and show you what they have learned. So that's a differentiation piece also in my book for students to show you how that differentiation learning has worked for them so they can show you what they have learned. One other one I'll show you is the 3-act math. Okay? And the 3-act math is a differentiation also. It's a differentiation to model out math, okay? And I can do a whole session for you on 3-act math. Matter of fact, I'm considering that being one of my February sessions. So, and I'm probably going to look at that. So the 3-act math would be a differentiation piece also. So here at the topic level, I'm at the topic, okay? The 3 pieces I wanted to share with you would be the STEM project, the Pick a Project, and then also the 3-act math. Now, notice the 3-act math is placed down here because we feel when we built the program that this 3-act math, all the students need this prerequisite information and knowledge of lessons 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 to be successful on that 3-act math task, okay? So we put it where we think it needs to be in your lesson flow, if you want to call it that. Okay, that's where we think it needs to be. All righty. So that's at the topic level. That's at the topic level. Now let's go from the topic level into a deeper dive, and let's go into the lesson level, and let's look at the pieces that are there for differentiation. The first one that I have found is Math Excel. Okay? Math Excel. It comes in many forms. There's a Math Excel practice and problem solving, additional practice, and then if you scroll on, okay, there's even a Math Excel enrichment piece. Okay? Now, let me show you the nice thing about this and what makes it a differentiation piece for Envision Math. For our struggling students, okay, there's always this box up top on the right, the question help. From this, students can get help solving this. It's interactive. Okay. Students can view an example. Students can watch a video, okay, and it's the learning, the virtual visual learning animation that they saw earlier in the lesson, okay. And there are other tools, the glossary, okay, going back to that math language. Also math tools. Let me click that and show you, okay. It brings up math tools that they can use, right, where they can pull all of these pieces and use them. And then insert that work into their actual work to submit to you, the teacher. So that's there for you, okay? For them to use the math tools. Alrighty. So this Math Excel is very beneficial as a differentiation piece. It can be synchronous or asynchronous. Also, is the nice thing about it. You can be there with the student while he or she is working on it, and see what they're working on and see where their mistakes are. They can share their screen with you and work through it. You can direct them. Say, okay, Chris, go up to the help box and see if you can find some help to help. Okay, so you can do it synchronously, or that could be asynchronous, and they can always get that help from that help box up there. The next piece I wanted to show you was this one right here. It's the adaptive practice powered by Newton. Now, it's only open to pull out and open with when you assign it. Okay, so that I can do a whole section on this. I'll be glad to meet with you. But what it does is it takes students down at least it takes them down one grade level to work on those prerequisite skills that they would need to successfully complete this writing two-step equations. Okay. So if they're having problems with some prerequisite skills, it will accommodate them, it will differentiate for them and allow them to work on those other skills prior to this, and then intertwine it with this current skill that they are on, okay? So the Newton practice is also there for you, and it's very nice. The next piece now I'm going to get into the actual assess and differentiate section of our lesson, okay? The next piece is the lesson quiz, and I want to talk to you about that. I shared this with Ramsey yesterday, and they loved it, okay? The lesson quiz, it can be assigned, okay? And here's the nice thing about when you assign this, all righty? When you assign it to your 7th grade class, we're going to set the start date for today and the end date for tomorrow, okay? There's this little check mark right here. And when you have that check, okay, the Realize platform is automatically going to grade that lesson quiz from your students. And when it does that, it's going to automatically assign remediation and enrichment activities to a student if this assessment shows that it is needed, okay? So it's going to automatically assign those remediation and enrichment pieces. So if I were to hit assign, it would go out to my class, they would complete it, it would get graded, and then automatically my students would be assigned one of these 3 pieces for their differentiation for that day of class. They would either get the reteach to build understanding. That's for our students who are struggling. We're going to go back and reteach it with them. We're going to get the what we would consider on-level students, this additional vocabulary support. That's the piece they would be automatically assigned. And the build mathematical literacy would be an enrichment piece for our students, okay? So in every lesson, whenever you assign this lesson quiz, if you have that little check mark, box marked again, okay, right here, it's going to automatically grade their quiz, and it's going to assign one of these 3 pieces for their intervention pieces, and to differentiate amongst our students, okay? So that's a very nice way to formative assessment, where you can get a quick glimpse of how students are doing, and then it would automatically assign those pieces. Okay? The Math Excel, as I mentioned earlier, is a nice piece. It's not just for remediation and intervention students. There's a piece of Math Excel for enrichment also. Okay? And the Virtual Nerd is a real neat video to show why students ask, why do I need to know this? Well, guess what? It's going to show them how these apply in the real world. Okay? That's basically what the Virtual Nerd videos do. Alrighty, and it's a nice little way to say, hey, this is important what you're doing. Okay? In addition, Spanish resources, we have all of those down here. And it's there for your Spanish-speaking students. It's there for them also to look at and to use, and you can assign them also. Okay? It's the Math Excel in Spanish that you can assign to your Spanish students, Spanish-speaking students. Okay? So plenty of Spanish resources down here, plenty of them. All righty. Linda has the chat. Any questions, any comments that we want to share?
I don't see any right now. Just some pointing out that what you're talking about is awesome.
Okay, terrific. Well, I'm glad everyone is enjoying that. All righty. If you wanted, let me show you how to find some pieces real quickly. Okay. Using this magnifying glass, okay? If you need to find resources for differentiation quickly, let's go and let's research those intervention lessons that we searched, okay? That magnifying glass is always there for you to find resources very quickly in our Realize platform, okay? Here we go. And it's got places over on the left where you can narrow it down. We're going to filter it down to 7th grade. Slowly but surely. And then going down through here, okay, you can see all of them. It's got titles, multiplying decimals. So let's say I wanted to be more specific, okay? And I wanted to find that one that I looked for earlier on fractions. Intervention lessons, fractions. And it's going to do a search. We want to filter it by 7th grade again. And here we go. These are all of the intervention lessons for fractions in 7th grade. Now, the nice thing about these intervention lessons, you can assign them from prior grades, okay? So if you have students that are on a much lower level in the math world, you can get to the earlier grade level intervention lessons, okay? That's always there for you. Right, but that's a quick way using this magnifying glass to do a search for your resources on the tools. All right. One other thing I've done today, okay, that I want to look at. seventh grade, here's my class. Okay, let's go back to the homepage and I'll show you. I found my program in the Browse tab. Now I want to go to classes and show you something with this away from assessment. Here's my seventh grade class, right? And you can see that earlier today, I assigned the today's challenge, right, to my seventh grade class. Well, I have opened an incognito window, okay? And here we go, okay? This is a student view. Okay, I'm logged in as a student on this screen. They are going to have the same, excuse me, setup with their Browse and their classes and their grades. The classes is where they're going to get to their assignments. So let's go and look at what an assignment page looks like for a student. You can see that I've assigned some different pieces before, okay, to the students. But the one I assigned this morning is right here. It's the today's challenge. We will click on that. It tells them when it was assigned. It tells them when it is due. It tells them the information where they can find it in their book if they wanted to go and look at it. Okay? Then they would click right here on today's challenge to start their work. All right. Here's the today's challenge. Look at all of these tools. They can have a pen to write. They can have a text box to type. You can see it up there. They can click and drag it. They can extend it, okay, however they want to use it. Also up here in the upper right, there is a tools button, okay? And this is where your students have access in our 6 through 8 program. Actually, it's in the 9 through 12 HEA program also. They have access to Desmos tools, okay, a graphing calculator, geometry figures, the circles, the angles, things like that, a protractor. And a scientific calculator. So that's all there for them. Once again, here's those additional math tools that I showed you. Okay. And notice when I click that, let me show you again, it opens in a new window. So some students sometimes get lost. Okay. They're going to say, oh, I need to use these additional math tools to show my answer. And they're going to use fractions and percent. Okay. All right. And they're going to say, oh, here I go. I'm going to use this. I'm going to do my work. And they're going to go, wait a minute. I can't find my work. Where did it go? It's not in here. I can't exit. They have to understand that they've opened a new window and they have to go back to it right over here. Okay? So that's what it's going to look like to your students from their view. I showed you again. Okay. Go back to their homepage. They find their assignments in the classes section. Okay. Now it's going to be that assignment I just started is in progress since I had opened it. And here it is, and they would click on it to get to it. Students are also logging in through their Clever platform or their Google Classroom. Once you have it linked, they can get into their assignments through Google Classroom also. And here are the tools up here that I just showed you. Right? One other piece I want to show you. Right? Here is a Padlet, okay, and Linda, if you can, I think I emailed, let me email this to you, okay, and get it in the chat. And get that Padlet in the chat, and let me walk through it with them. Here is my section right here from Math 6 to 12. It has my flyer with all of my contact information on it. And a picture of my ugly mug up there, okay? You can always get to that if you need to contact me or set up a session. There's my Cloud HQ link, buddy. The next thing I have is a Envision correlation to the 6-8 instructional framework, okay? I've taken that instructional framework of the sections of review and focus, the guide and engage, where speakers are going to be offering that differentiation. And put some of our components in there that I've mentioned today, that you can see right here. All righty. After that, the explore and apply and the synthesize and reflect, it's all in there. I've also done one for HEA. And then the last piece I've added is the Envision program relating to the 8 mathematical practices and how that can be used to address those 8 mathematical practices. So some resources for you teachers to use if you're using our program. Once again, I have a session next week. I'll be back on again today from 11 to 11:30 with the high school AGA program, looking at their differentiation because it is a little bit different. But next Wednesday, I'll be on from 9:30 to 10, and we'll be covering the assessment pieces within the Vision program, that formative and summative assessment piece. So, Elaine, I think
Yes.
I'm just about right on time. Am I correct?
You are. It was awesome, and lots of awesome tools for our students that are needing acceleration and some differentiation tips. Absolutely. So thank you very much. We're glad to have you. And again, like you said, that Padlet link will be in the resources below of this video if you're watching on demand, as well as it is going to be linked into the schedule for today. Next up, we have Miss Kelly, and Kelly is going to be joining us in just a moment. She is going to be talking about science, 6 through 8, intriguing your students with interactivities, and then Kelly is going to take us through the Savvis platform with that. If you are joining us live, of course, like they said, go ahead and tweet out to them. You also can tweet to our hashtag JCPSDigIn, which stands for Digital Innovation, and share how you are using Savvis in your class and how some awesome tools that you are learning today as well. Good morning, Kelly. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. Let me know if I can help. I'm Elaine Abenatha, and I can help you if you need any assistance with sharing your screen or getting those closed captionings up.
All right. Thank you. I'm getting some feedback here, so I'm not exactly sure what's happening.
I do hear that in the background. It seems as if you've got, so you were on the chat a moment ago on YouTube. Just go ahead to that tab that YouTube is open, and you can right click mute that tab, and that should give it.
All right, let me.
I hear it. It's at least we know that audio is working. So
Very good. Very good. All right, thank you. Hide that, and I'll start sharing my screen here. Thank you.
It looks great so far. Yep.
All right. Turn on our closed caption here. Thanks for having me this morning.
Looks perfect. Thank you.
All right. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Today, we're going to do a session that's going to look at our Elevate Science, grades 6 through 8 interactivities. And we're going to always keep in the forefront that we want our kids to be doers of science. And I know that with JCPS, that is very important, that our kids are experiencing the science. And I just wanted to reiterate what Chris had said, that when our teachers are logging in to Savvis Easy Bridge, they are going through Clever and then clicking on the Savvis Easy Bridge, and that will take them into the Savvis Realize platform. And this is what it looks like from our view when they log in. Again, we have our 3 tabs, our browse, our classes, and then they'll see their data tab there. And today, I want to take a look, like I said, at the interactivities that are embedded within each topic. And these kind of make science more engaging for our students, allowing them to interact with the science topic that they are studying. This is a picture that I pulled up, and I was thinking about this. We met with the Ramsey teachers yesterday, so I want to give them a shout out. Very good sessions, very good input from them. When you think about the content or the standard, the NGSS standard that you're trying to teach in your classroom, I want us to all remember that the JCPS materials, the modules that have been developed and so, well done, those are the bigger boulders or the rocks that you're filling your jar with. And the SAVIS materials, the Elevate Science, the Miller and Levine Biology, the Experience Chemistry, that's the sand that's going to fill in around those larger rocks or boulders. So we are here as a supplemental material that teachers are going to use if they so choose. So we are an option. We'd like to be here to support you in any way that we can. All right, so interactivities, grades 6 through 8. Our middle school programs consist of 3 courses: Elevate Science Course 1, 2, and 3. And now our AGM, Cliff Mims, has added to the list of programs the modules as well. And perhaps next week we'll talk about that in a little more detail. But these are the 3 programs that we're going to see when we log on to the Realize platform. When we're planning at the module level, or if we're looking at standards, or when we're using the SAVIS materials, we would call it the topic level. What we're doing is we're always going to focus on the standards. So for me today, I'm going to show you some 6th grade interactivities, and the folks from Ramsey, if they're watching today, they're going to recognize this because we're going to look at the geoscience processes. And you notice here the NGSS, Next Generation Science Standards, are listed right here. And these correlate with what we offer in our Elevate Science program. So we are going to connect those standards. So that's where I go to look when I'm working on documents with the science team at JCPS. So this is what the unit of study looks like at JCPS. It's the geoscience processes. And then I go back and correlate those to what do we have in Elevate Science that would look and line up with these along with those same standards. So what then would be the quote unquote sand that would fill in around those rocks, those major modules and activities that you're doing with JCPS. All right, so this is what the Realize platform would look like, and we are going to go live to it. But before we get there, I wanted to show that in the table of contents under Elevate Science Course 1, I have moved topic 5 using this rearrange button. I've moved it up to the top so that I don't have to scroll down every time to see that. So teachers can rearrange the Realize platform to make it easier for them to use. You can undo it. It's not permanent. Just makes it easier for us to use. So there's our topic 5. And we're going to be looking at that. So let's go live onto the platform. And I've brought it up here, right? So here's my Elevate Science Course 1. And at any time, please feel free to stop me if I'm going too quickly. I'm going to go into topic 5, Introduction to Earth's Systems. I want to highlight the interactivities in particular. And I'm sure in the chat, Chris has probably put my email address, my Cloud HQ. I have a Padlet where I am posting some things. So feel free to contact me anytime if you'd like to work on some lesson planning. If you have questions about these, but I'd like to run through some of the interactivities that you can find within the Elevate program that you could use to supplement what you're doing with the JCPS modules that have been built for you. One place to start, you're going to see that each topic has a topic launch. It consists of several lessons, and then you will have a topic close. In the topic launch, you will find a quest. The quest, I would define the quest as an adventure that excites and intrigues the students as they journey through a topic. And in this particular quest kickoff, our phenomena is going to be forest fires. So just as JCPS builds their modules around phenomena, so does Elevate Science. And this is a typical interactivity. Now, one thing about the quest, many people think when they're using Elevate Science that they either do the entire quest or they don't do it. You can choose to do different pieces of the quest, but the quest is a storyline that runs through the entire topic. But please don't feel like you have to do the whole thing. So here is the quest on forest fires, and you can make some decisions as a teacher whether to use this synchronously or asynchronously. Maybe because it's a quest kickoff, we could assign this asynchronously to our students and then come back and discuss it as a group. We could assign it individually or small group. Maybe asynchronously, we might provide guiding questions and then come back and discuss them when students meet synchronously. So here we have, they need your help. Oh no, there's a large forest fire near a populated town. And kids would read through this. Town officials need your help to make the community aware of the dangerous effects of the fire. Help officials prepare their information. You will need to do some research first. So now we're going to go on to the next screen. And here kids are going to now learn about the standards for this topic, which include learning about the different spheres of Earth, mainly the geosphere, atmosphere, biosphere, and hydrosphere. So they're going to do some information on their own. They're going to be doing some engagement and some investigation here. So they're going to do some reading. They're going to click on to the next one. And as you can see here, they're going to look at a photo, and they are going to have to be typing their answers in as to giving their opinions. How are the geosphere, atmosphere, biosphere, and hydrosphere represented in there in this photo? So we're still in the engage mode of our lesson. We click through effects of a forest fire. So as you can see here, they're looking at different Florida, and then is it different from a forest fire in California and wildfires? And then we've got a slider that they can move. So they're going to see the effects here. And it takes them through different screens. These are photos that illustrate the effects of a California forest fire. Again, they're going to move through this one. I'm just demonstrating the richness of all of the different activities that are involved in these interactivities. And I think as educators, we are going to have to do some instruction with our kids to show them how to use these the first time through. So explore the forest fire to learn the effects of the fire on each of the spheres. So when they click on these, there's going to be some information, and we do need to use our slider bars here to read a little bit about this. So fires require oxygen to burn. And again, we need to make some decisions as to whether we're going to do this synchronous or asynchronously at first. And how are we going to hold our kids accountable for doing these? So now we're going to see our geosphere over here. That'll be our biosphere. And also the nice thing about the Quest Kickoff, it's going to allow us to activate some prior knowledge. And there's our hydrosphere. Interesting, up here in the corner, we can check our progress, right? So if I was to speed through a page, it's going to tell me that I didn't do that in its entirety. We go on. Now I have an embedded video. We're talking about forest fires in a little more detail. I can turn my volume up. I also have closed captioning here. We can watch our video from NBC Learn. I can make this full screen. So again, teachers can also pick parts of the Quest Kickoff that they would like to use with their students as well. We move through here, organize your ideas. So we're using some graphic organizers. Kids can type their ideas to consider some of the immediate dangers of forest fires. So you can see that this particular activity is very in depth. And has the kids thinking about this particular phenomena, and it's going to carry throughout the topic. So it's here, it's very complete for the teachers. It's all done for them. One-stop shopping with this particular interactivity, and that's located in the topic launch. There's also a checklist here. If you want to do the quest as it moves through, the checklist is for the teachers to take a look at and gives them everything that's going to be included in the quest as it moves through the entire topic. And then there's also a rubric that's included for the grading of the Quest Kickoff. Any questions so far in our chat?
I think we are good currently, but let's see. Yep, we are good. They're just making sure that they share your resources for the Padlet and, of course, your email. So those two will be on the clip later on after we upload it again.
Okay, very good. So now we'll move into lesson 1. So when we get into the lessons, we have more interactivities here. And this will be the same for grades 6th, 7th, and 8th. And again, just want to remind teachers that if we use in JCPS the 5E model for lesson planning, and most of our interactivities are going to fall in the investigate, and then again in our synthesize. So we're going to find one here. It is an interactivity with describing systems. So if we look at this one, we can find some information about it. If we click on the information, we're going to be able to see the exact standard that this interactivity is going to deal with. So when we go back to our JCPS modules, we're going to know, are we dealing with the standard that we want? And for the geoscience process, this one is going to work nicely with that. So if we look here, we also have teacher resources, which is going to give us an answer key. Should we want that? And now we're going to look at this particular interactivity. And again, taking a quick look, deciding, do we want to assign this synchronously or asynchronously? Do we have to do some direct instruction before we get into this interactivity, or is this something that we can ask the kids to do on their own and then come back and discuss it? So I think that's the biggest question when we're looking at these interactivities is, do they meet the standard that we want them to meet? And then how do we want to assign them? Right. This particular one, describing systems, we're looking at some bicycles here. Kids are doing some reading, and then they're going to talk about what different parts make up a bicycle. Maybe if we're doing this synchronously, we could have our kids work in groups. And we have a lot of places here where the kids are going to type in their text answers. Now here, properties of systems, the kids are going to actually be asked some questions to check for their understanding. And if you see a circle, that means that the question wants only one answer. So we might hit B here, and then what is the process? What is this process in a bicycle system? I'm just going to put C. I'm going to check my answer. Okay, great. Good job. Now it's going to allow me to move on. If I hadn't guessed correctly, it would make me go back and do it again. Now, this is going to now describe systems, compare it to the respiratory system, and now I have to identify some parts of this system and type my answer in here. And again, more explaining on this one and applying my concepts. So there are some higher level thinking skills here with the investigations. And this one's going to now tell me I only completed pages 1 and 2 because I haven't typed in these boxes. So it does show me my progress as a student. If I want to do some more direct instruction in the synthesized portion, which is the explain and explore, let's take a look at this interactivity here. This is what happens when you get ready early for your presentation, huh? All right. So for here, down here in synthesize, the explain and explore, if I wanted to do some teaching ahead of time, because now this particular interactivity, a little heavier on the scientific principles here. So as we move through this one, as a teacher, I'm asking kids to explain things. They're not just investigating anymore. They have to explain some things in this particular interactivity. So one thing that I could do is, for my direct instruction, is I might want to use my Realize Reader, which we have a Teacher's Edition e-text. You can see the beautiful graphics that we could actually use to teach from here as instructors. I might want to utilize my student sign in from here. We have the ability to use the e-text. So these Elevate Science courses come with the student e-text and the teacher e-text online. They are available to you. So we could go in and use the student e-text, and I'm going to use my menu over here, and I can go into the table of contents, and the students have access to these as well. And I can go into topic 5. And we know that it's important with JCPS. We don't want our kids reading about science first and then experiencing it. We want them to experience the science first and then go back and read about it. However, we do want them to be using literacy skills as well as math skills, and those are built in to the Elevate Science program. So with every topic, there will be a literacy skill, and in this particular topic, we are citing textual evidence. And we're also using math skills, we are interpreting a line graph. So for this interactivity, we could be looking through our e-text, which is right here for us. We could use this for forest fires, for our phenomena. We can be looking through lesson 1. There's our literacy connection and our math connection. We have our guiding questions that are listed for us. And so as a teacher, maybe I bring up this picture, I can use that for my direct instruction. And I could be asking my students now to be looking for text evidence to help them with that interactivity that meets the standard that we're working on and our student objectives. And it's right there. It does open in a new window, but those e-texts are available right here. And also when we are in the actual topic. So if I then go into an incognito window, what I did is I logged in as one of my students, and this is what the student would see as one of I assigned a student the quest kickoff for forest fires. And I guess we're not going to see that today. Apologize for that. I'll sign in again, start another incognito window. And I'm going to sign in as my student and see if we can see from the student point of view what the student would see. And they're going to sign on through their school system. And they're going to look at their classes, and let's see if we can make it work this time. Oh, it tells me it's past due, but it does give me the program start date, my due date, and let's see if we can get this to there. Okay, so here's what the student's going to see as they move through this particular activity. So they see the same thing, and now they can check their progress. But notice down here, they actually have a turn in button. And it's very important that we tell our students that they have to hit that turn in button in order to get it to go back through and be submitted on the platform and then back through the Google Classroom. So I hope this is helpful for the interactivities for our 6th through 8 teachers. And I would just like to encourage teachers to just try it. Just try one. Try one interactivity that might work with your standard, with one of the modules that you're using. See if you like it, see if your students like it. Decide whether you want to use it synchronously or asynchronously. Start small, and if you want extra help or any type of lesson planning help, I'm here. There's my email, and my Cloud HQ. I also have a Padlet as well. And we're always excited about science and helping in any way that we can.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelly, very much. Some good information. And again, all that information, resources are going to be put in on the schedule as well as below in the resources link. So Kelly, are you doing this again in this next session? Or
I am doing this again in the next session. We're going to do grades 3 through or K through 5.
Okay.
And so I just need 2 seconds to bring that up.
You are fine.
And we'll get started with that.
Absolutely. Well, while you are doing that, I'm going to go ahead and show everybody the rest of our schedule. We have Chris is coming back here to do some doing more differentiation for our acceleration students. And then after lunch, we've got Twitter with Rebecca Reynolds, and Kathleen Receiver is going to, and Amy Barnes is going to be doing SMART. And then again, some SMART at 1:30 and Nearpod. So we've got lots of information after lunch too. So don't forget to share out the links and let your fellow teachers know that you too can learn alongside with everybody. All right, Kelly, whenever you're ready, I'm here to help.
All right. Let's see. I am ready, I believe. Yes, let's see. So let's share our screen. How's our volume? Is the volume good?
It's perfect. Yes, ma'am.
All right. Turn on our closed caption. So happy Wednesday, everybody. Thanks for being with us today. My name's Kelly Palsrock, and I am the science consultant for SAVIS, working with JCPS. And today we're going to be talking about Elevate Science and interactivities that are embedded in the different topics within Elevate Science grades K through 5. So I'm happy you're here with me today. We all know that we want kids to be doers of science, and we're going to look at some activities that will help us do just that. Just wanted to remind everybody that when you are trying to log into the SAVIS Realize platform, you're going to access this through Clever, and you'll find the SAVIS Easy Bridge there, and then you'll log into the Realize platform from there. So if you have any questions, please reach out to us or to our customer satisfaction manager. And this is what the platform looks like once you log in. You'll see that you'll have 3 tabs. You'll have a browse tab, which will hold all of your courses that you've loaded on. You'll have your classes, and you'll have your data tab. And then the My Library tab up here, we talked about that last week, I believe, on how to create playlists. So if anybody wants any help on that or refresher, please feel free to contact us. And I'm sure that Chris will be putting my email and my Cloud HQ link in the chat, as well as the link to my Padlet. If you'd like to contact us, we are always happy to help with any questions you have, including things like lesson planning or labs that you might want to take a look at. Anything like that, we're here for you. Today, again, we're going to look at interactivities and how to make science more engaging. I like this image here because I was thinking about the idea that when we're planning at the, say, the module level or the topic level, that it's kind of like a jar, a big jar of our standards, the NGSS standards, the next generation science standards that we want to take a look at. So we might have 3 or 4 of those standards, and that's the jar that we want to fill. And those big rocks that take up most of that jar are going to be coming from your JCPS modules that have been designed for you and are just very well written and phenomenal. The sand that fills the rest of the jar, or might help you to fill it if you choose to put the sand in there, that would represent activities and items that you could pick from Elevate Science and the Realize platform. So Elevate Science is the program, and it sits on the Savvis Realize platform. So think of it that way. What we're offering you today are some extra activities that you might use just to, say, enhance what you're doing, or pick and choose some activities that you'd like to try. This is your Realize platform. And notice here I've got grades K1 and 2, and I put little stars by them, because if I put those stars by them, remember, if I click favorites, those are going to come to the top. So if you are in the K through 5 building and you want, maybe you are a specialist and you're going to work with all K through 5, you can add all 5 programs to your platform. You can put stars by them, and all 5 of those will come up for you. When we're looking at aligning what's offered in Elevate Science and the JCPS modules, the first thing that I do is I go to the Science Scope and Sequence here, and I look at the next generation science standards, and they're all listed for me here. And today I'd like to look at grade 2 habitats. And when we look at plant animal habitats, I come over here and I can see my next generation science standards. And I also know with the units of study that's been developed by JCPS, we have a driving question: what do plants need to grow and survive? And so those are the things that I'm going to be looking at when I go into the Elevate Science and look at our topics and what we can offer and meet those same standards. So we're all working in the same direction. We can also look at kindergarten has needs of living things, grade 1 has living things, grade 2 has habitats. And so all of these are very related and do meet the needs for those next gen science standards. So let's go live and into the Savvis Realize platform. And we're going to browse here. And I'm going to go down here to grade 2. And I have not rearranged this one. And habitats are way down here. So here's our habitats. And you will see that every topic is going to be arranged with a topic launch, followed by lessons, and then we have our topic close. And in the topic launch, if we open this up, we're going to see that we have something called a quest. And a quest can be defined as an adventure that excites and intrigues the students as they journey through a topic. It's in addition to what is being covered throughout the topic. It is optional. Teachers can choose to do the quest or they cannot. So the quest, like I said, is a storyline, and then throughout the topic, kids will do quest check-ins. Some teachers think that they have to do the quest in its entirety. They either do or do not do it. Not true. You can pick and choose parts of the quest that you like. You can skip around and decide if it works for you. So I'd like to show you this quest kickoff. It's called Protect a Habitat. And if you click here on info, you're going to see the standards for this Quest kickoff. And it does meet the standards for the JCPS scope and sequence. So if we take a look here, these are what the interactivities look like. And it starts with a video. The video does have closed captioning and can be made full screen. I'll turn the volume up here and see if you can, let me know if you can hear this.
We can barely hear it, almost.
Okay, so you get the idea though that we're going to start out with our second graders, having them watch a video about a habitat. And then down here in these corners, they're going to push that button. And knowing our second graders, if they're like some of the little people that I know, they're digital natives. So we'll have to teach them a little bit about how to use these interactives, but I have a feeling they're going to catch on very quickly. So now in this quest, you'll find a way to protect the habitat. Notice what's happening here when I have my cursor over this written portion. It's also going to, it will read to the students if we need it to. So in this quest, you're going to find a way to protect the habitat, be creative. So down here, we're going to look at some different habitats. I love these pictures. They're so bright and engaging. And I have a magnifying glass that I can push on so I can bring that closer to me. So here's my coral reef habitat. Then I have a tundra habitat. This is what I'm living in today. No, thank you. I'd rather go back to the coral reef. Don't know about the people in the audience, but, and then we can click here, and here's my desert habitat. So again, if we are doing this synchronously, we could have a discussion with our kids about, you know, what habitat would you prefer to live in as second graders? And now we're going to move on to the third one. This is a habitat that was harmed or damaged. Observe how the habitat was changed. Why do you think it is important to protect the habitat? All right, so we're going to get some of their opinions. And again, here we have a slider. So they're going to slide that over, and we can discuss that. And they need to be able to type their answers here. Or we could have a discussion about it. And they can slide it back. So that's the quest kickoff. We have a little check mark up here, and it tells me, oh, I've completed pages 1 and 2, but not 3. I didn't type an answer in there. Let's go now. Notice I'm using my back arrow here. Let's go now to lesson 1, identify habitats. This would be, if we look here, I do not, in the investigate portion, I do not have an interactivity, but I do in the synthesize portion, which would coincide with the explain and the elaborate for if we're using the 5E model for lesson planning. So this is under synthesize. This interactivity, as teachers, we're going to have to decide how much direct instruction will we need before assigning these. So if I click on this one, your home is your habitat. Again, this will read, animals live in different habitats. They get everything they need to survive from their habitat. I can run this down. And this has 7 different pages for activities. So here's our beaver, your stream. Again, this will read to the kids, and now we can pick up and we can circle, and I'm supposed to circle Things the beaver gets from its habitat to survive. Well, I might circle that. I might circle some water. I might circle some air. Okay, and then I can move on. So the kids might need to learn how to use those tools. And you can see that we can move on, but I need to make sure that I show my kids that I need to pull this bar down because we're going to look at several different habitats for people. From the countryside to the city to an apartment building to a very tall apartment building.
And Kelly, I think I have a tip for all of us. If you push Control or Command plus or minus, that'll help you zoom in and out, and then that way you don't have to worry about kids missing out on those. Yeah. So that's zooming in. Yep. And then they can zoom out. That way they can see that whole line down there at the bottom. Looks like, whoops.
Sometimes mine jumps around a little too far.
It does, mine
but
too.
Yeah, if you bring it up, then you can at least, I think they can control it a little bit better. Thank you. Sometimes mine got a little too small and I couldn't then read this part and I lose my bar over here, but thank you. So now they want the kids to write about, describe what your habitat or home is and type in there. This one, the kids have to, and this is important, I think, for the kids getting used to reading the questions correctly. Which items do you need to survive in your habitat? So now we're going to drag and drop. And the question is that items you need. So when I was first looking at this, I was just taking all of them, and putting them on there. And notice what's happening over here. It's giving me some feedback, but I thought I needed a teddy bear. So notice what's happening. A bear provides comforts, but it's not needed. I think I need a window. Good job. I do need air to survive. So you can see that it is interactive. I want to start over. I'm going to bring my teddy bear down. Gosh, do I need my computer? Well, I think some people think they need their cell phones, but put that down. And so now we can see if it'll let us move on here. All right. Again, here's another type of interactivity, which I think serves well for our kids who are taking some of those high stakes testing. What does each item provide? Feel free to go back and add or remove items. So now I'm going to fruit provides. Food, drink provides, water, toy provides. I'm going to say, so just make a mistake and see what's going to happen. And then I'm going to check it. And notice what it's going to show me. It's going to give kids instant feedback on this. And then they can hit not quite, and they can try it again. And it'll then allow them to go back and think about what they need to redo. And air. And now I'm going to check my answers there. Good job. Now I do have to exit out of that before I can move on. So there are some little, nuances to these that the kids have to be able to learn in order to be a little more efficient when they're doing that. How is your home like another animal's habitat? Again, we're in the synthesize portion of this lesson. So if we take a look at that, we might want to decide how much teaching, direct instruction, do we have to do before we want to assign this? And to do that, we can go up here to the e-text and we can maybe we're going to use the student e-text to do that. I can access that. I can open a new window. Just want to make sure that everybody understands that the e-text for both students and teachers are available to you online. And I can do my drop-down menu. The kids will have this at their disposal. They have bookmarks, annotations, and highlighters they can write in their notebook. If I look at my table of contents, I'm in habitats down here in topic 6. And this is a very interactive e-text. So we know that we don't want our kids to read about science before they have a chance to actually investigate and explore it. But here, maybe we do want them to go in and do a little bit of reading, or maybe looking at some things prior to doing that particular interactivity. So you can see how this is laid out. And it does read to them. It also will pull down our standards if we'd like to see those. So you get an idea of the richness of the resources that are here. Always literacy connections, as well as math connections, and reading checks that are embedded at point of use, as well as notebooks. So the kids can take notes right here in their e-text, and then those will be kept. And if you assign the e-text as a teacher, then you can go back and see what the kids have written. Absolutely beautiful graphics in these. Right, let's go back to the platform. Those always open in a separate window, so you can keep that separate from what you're teaching. Habitats. And I'd like to go into lesson 2. And in lesson 2, under synthesize, there's an interactivity called comparing different land habitats. And I just wanted people to see the level of rigor here. Keeps our kids accountable, and I think really kind of increases that level of understanding and what we want our kids to do when we're studying science. These interactivities are not just something that the kids can easily, just click through and, like not really pay attention to. And I think teachers need to be viewing these and actually going through them prior to assigning these. So animals get what they need in a habitat. They get air, food, water, and shelter. Again, notice this is going to read to the kids. And they can come through here and look at the deciduous forest. Again, we have our zoom in. We can move through the different types of habitats. And with this one then, now we have different land habitats, and the kids are going to learn quite a bit about each of these habitats by pressing on those little circles. So quite a bit of information embedded in each one of these. And then when we move on to the next one, this is where I thought the level of rigor was quite high. The kids have to compare 2 land habitats. How are they alike and how are they different? And using a graphic organizer. So when I was thinking about how would I be teaching this lesson, I'm definitely going to be doing this ahead of time as an instructor. And I'm going to be thinking about, am I going to be doing this asynchronously or synchronously? I might have the kids start and do a little bit of it asynchronously, and then coming back to class and maybe doing an example together synchronously, and then maybe having my kids work in pairs to work on this part together and then coming back as a whole group and discussing this. So I would be using this interactivity as more of a whole group lesson. And then we end with think about plants and animals and land habitats. Which might you write an ad for? So I really liked that because now we've got some literacy skills coming in here with this one. And then I was thinking to myself, that's going to take me some time. So if you want to know about how much time to allow for these particular interactivities, if you go to the eText and you go into the teacher eText, at the beginning of each topic, you are going to be able to find a topic planner. And the topic planner is going to give you the amount of time that it takes to plan for each of the units that you're doing and each of the activities as we go through this. Go back here. I apologize. I should have had this bookmarked. And I will show that as we're running out of time. I will show that topic planner next time when we get together.
Tons and tons of information there. I like it.
Yes, and I apologize about that.
No.
So what I wanted to end with is I just wanted to encourage teachers to just try one. Pick one interactivity that you think you might like and try it with the unit, the module that you're doing, and see how it works for you. See if you like it. See if your students like it. Maybe try it whole group. Maybe just try it on your own and see what you think. And then definitely if you decide that you like it or if you want more help with it, feel free to contact me. You have my email. You have the Cloud HQ. We're available anytime that you would like to talk to us and help you with anything that you need help with as far as Elevate Science, the Realize platform, assigning things to kids, anything that you would like us to help you with. We are here and excited about being part of the JCPS SAVIS Partnership Plus program.
I would definitely agree, Kelly. Thank you so much. And I loved how Chris put in the chat. He said lots of asynchronous and synchronous ideas, very valuable in our current situation. So I totally agree with you, Chris. Thanks again, Kelly. And like she said, all of her information is going to be in the description below for this, uploaded later. And then also you can find it in the chat beside us. It's in there as well. Well, in a few minutes at 11 o'clock, we are going to be visited again and learning from Chris. And he's going to be working on differentiation with math 9 through 12. And then after lunch, which at 12:30 is we're going to have Twitter for JCPS or JCPS educators, which is anybody really, because Twitter is a great way to grow your PLN. So Rebecca Reynolds will be there and teaching us with that. And then, of course, we've got SMART coming for the next 2 sessions with Kathleen and Amy. And then Nearpod is going to come up and we're going to learn some stuff with them as well. So make sure that you come back after the lunch. And if you are watching on demand, make sure that you check out those sessions as well. And they're also linked on the schedule. All right. Well, Chris, are you ready to dive into some more differentiation?
I am here and I am ready to go with the 9 through 12 teachers.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Good morning again, everyone. Almost good afternoon. You're making it through today, so be happy about that. I'm Chris Peterson. I am the Math 612 specialist from Savas, working with JCPS. Had a great time this morning earlier with my grade 6 to 8 teachers, looking at their differentiation package in the Envision program, and am now going to do the same thing with the 9 through 12 teachers with their differentiation pieces. I divided this up between 6-8 and 9-12, and thank you to all my cohorts that allowed me to have 2 sessions today, because the differentiation pieces are a little bit different from the 6-8 program into the AGA, the Algebra Geometry and Algebra 2 programs. So I'm excited that I got to have 2 sessions today to cover this. First of all, if you're unfamiliar with getting into our programs, it's going to be from your Clever dashboard, your Clever landing page at the district, and you're going to look for the icon that says Savas EasyBridge. And it's it kind of looks like that. And then once in there, you're going to want to set up your Savas Realize account, because that's where your programs are stored on our Savas Realize platform. We have different platforms, but the ones that you guys use are on the Savas Realize platform. So that's how you're going to get in to set it up and load your classes and connect with Google Classroom and all of that. If you have questions about doing that, I'll be glad to help you. I'm pretty tech proficient at it, so I'll be glad to help. Or I can get you to someone if we have problems that can help Laura, our CSM. Going ahead and looking ahead, next Wednesday, I'll be on 9:30 to 10, just with 1 session, looking at assessment pieces, formative and summative, and some diagnostic pieces, assessment pieces within Envision program. My email is here. Kelly or Linda, I think, are with me, and they're going to put all that in the chat. I have a Cloud HQ place where you can book meetings with me for yourself as an individual, for a group of teachers, your entire math department. I was able to work with Ramsey Middle School yesterday for about an hour, and we had a terrific time on there learning from one another and sharing ideas. Also, you can find us on Twitter. We are at JCPS_P. That's our team page where we share information about all of our programs with JCPS. Also, I have my own individual Twitter page at Mr. Peterson Teach. So you're welcome to follow me. I follow some good educational pieces and retweet them. And so you'll find me on there.
Chris, do me a favor and go and try to reshare your screen one more time for me.
Okay, reshare my screen.
Yes.
Well, I was going 90-0, and I wasn't even
Well, you're
sharing
okay.
my screen.
You get. I mean, what you said was all right there, supported. So perfect. There you go. So I
Now,
wasn't too
now you
worried.
got it?
Yes, you've got it.
Okay, super. Here we go. Let me show you this again right quick. The Savas EasyBridge icon, okay? And then you're going to set up your Savas Realize page, because that's where your program is stored. And also, here's all my email and appointment booking, and hopefully Linda will get all of that into the chat bar over there, our Twitter accounts. Okay. Thank you, Elaine, for pointing that out. I appreciate that. Let's get busy. Let's look at differentiation at the high school level with our AGA programs. Let's go into Browse. That's where we're going to find our programs. And you'll see that I have my high school program starred, since that's the 3 that I'm going to use today during our session. And I feel like some geometry. Okay, so I'm going to be a geometry teacher today, and I'm going to, although it's all the same, you'll find the same pieces in the algebras and the geometry program. First of all, over on the right-hand sidebar, okay, notice your teacher resources drop-down arrow. In here, okay, a piece of differentiation that I found would be the selected answers to work problems. So that if your kids are at home working and you want them to have a copy of the answers, guess what? Okay, it's here. You can open it, you can download it, okay? Alrighty, it'll download as a PDF. And here we go. Okay, it's divided up by topic, and then it's divided up by lesson. Okay, so here we have the even number problems. All you have to do, let's say you're doing numbers 2 through 40. Okay, 2 through 40 even only. All you do is copy and paste it. Okay, copy, Control C, and then go to your page, go to your Google Classroom page and post the answers, okay? That way students have the capability of checking themselves during that asynchronous time, all righty? So the even answers are in here, and also the odd answers are in here, okay? So we give you the answer key to every one. That's a differentiation piece for your students to find, to check their answers during that asynchronous time away from you, all righty? And once again, I'm at the program level. Okay? It says table of contents. Sometimes it's referred to as the table of contents level, but I refer to it as the program level, and it's over here under teacher resources. Okay? Going into a topic, right? Let's go into triangles, okay? Congruent. Going into a topic level. Over here on the right, you would once again find teacher resources, okay? And here are some sheets with standards practices, okay? Now this little lock right here means that it's blocked from students until you send it to them, okay? All right, the students can't see it until you give it to them. Now, it is not available digitally, okay? But it is working on Common Core standards that correlate to the Kentucky standards very nicely. So it's in there, okay? So these Common Core standards practices sheets are in there. You can assign it. Students can edit PDFs, okay? Students do have, within the Realize program, they do have the capability of editing PDFs, okay? So it's in there. So all these standard practices, differentiation pieces to review the standards for students are in there. It comes with answer keys, okay? You can see it right there. It's all available for them. Right? Going down the topic level, okay? Going down it through the topic, all righty? We would find a 3-act math piece. Now, I'm going to tell you that this is differentiation. It is differentiation because it allows students to show their learning and to share their thoughts in a different format, okay? It allows them to have a different avenue to share their learning and to think about their learning and to model, mathematical modeling. I can do a session for you or your school or teachers on 3-act math and talk to you about how it's implemented and conducted. Also, there are teacher videos, okay, that would tell you a little bit about 3-act math. But it is a big differentiation piece to allow students that opportunity for modeling math, to think about their learning and to express their learning in a different way. So the 3-act math is there for you to use as a differentiation piece. Okay? Scrolling on through. Oh, I missed this one. I was looking for it and it ran right by me. The STEM project. It's another way for students to show what they've learned in a different manner. Okay? To use those bridges as triangles. Okay? To incorporate those STEM activities to show what they're learning about triangles, okay? So the STEM piece, the STEM project is a nice intervention and differentiation piece also to allow students to expand their learning and to go down a different avenue, as I said, to show you what they're learning and what they know. So we've got the STEM project, we've got the 3-act math, and these are both available in the 6 to 8 and 9 through 12 AGA program, as I'm showing you. So at the topic level, okay, That's all the pieces that I wanted to show you, except for this one right here, Math Excel. And you'll find this Math Excel within the lessons also. The nice piece about the Math Excel is that it's one of those pieces that lends itself to that asynchronous instruction. Because when you're not with your students, okay, and they're working on this Math Excel, they can always use this box to get the question help. They can watch a video to help them with it. They can look at their textbook to see what how their textbook explains it. They have a glossary to learn any math terms, and they have math tools. Okay, now let me show you one thing about the math tools. Okay, these are their interactive math tools. So if we're going to do triangles, they might be using this 2D geometric constructor. But now watch when I click it. You ready? It opens it in a new window. Okay? So always be aware that it opens it in a new window. Okay? And these are tools that they can manipulate and all of that. Okay? They can include it in their work and whatnot like that. But don't let your students get confused because they now may be thinking, where did my work page go? Remind them always that it's going to open in a different window. Okay? That way they don't freak out and think they've lost their work page. Okay? So it's all of these tools are there for them to use and incorporate into their work, but it does open in a new work page. So this Math Excel piece is very nice. They can get help when they're away from you, and I'm going to show you it within the lesson also. Okay? But at the topic level, we're covering a topic right now of triangle congruence. Okay? So that's all of the differentiation pieces within the topic level. Now let's go into a lesson. Let's go into your daily lesson where you're working. All righty? At the daily lesson level, okay? At the daily lesson level, your students have access to Math Excel. Now, the nice thing about Math Excel is it's not only for struggling students, okay? It's for our on-level students, okay? It's for our enrichment students that need that extra push and that extra challenge, okay? Now, let me tell you the difference between these. The practice and problem solving, okay, is basically just what it says. It's the practice problems for those questions that you're dealing with today. And once again, here are the math tools that students can always get, okay? So the practice and problem solving are just practices for those standards that you're covering in that lesson, all righty? Now, if we find that one, let's go to the other one, which is called mixed review. Now, mixed review, okay, is a mixed review of past topics, of past standards that you have covered, okay? So it's not just focused on that standard for that day. It goes back and works with students incorporating prior standards. So when you see the term mixed review, it's going to focus, okay, on a mixed capacity, a mixed content of different standards, okay? It's not going to just focus on those standards for that day. It's going to go back to previous standards also. So I wanted you to be aware of the difference between the Math Excel that says practice and problem solving and the Math Excel that says mixed review, okay? Now, going on down, the next piece for me to show you is this adaptive practice. And I can't open it. It has to be opened as a student, okay? But let me tell you what the adaptive practice does. It's powered by Newton. And what it does is it takes students back to previous standards that they are lacking in to complete this current task. So it will take them back one grade level to prior standards that they have to strengthen and manage and master, and then it intertwines helping them with the current standard. So it will take them back to prior standards, to prior skills that they need work and help on. It identifies those automatically, and it takes them back and practices it with them so that they can implement those standards and skills into the current task. So that's a nice differentiation piece here also. Then we actually can get into the assess and differentiate. I've shown you all these differentiation pieces, and we're not even to that section yet. So this program has just tons of resources. Here we go. Let's look at the first one, the lesson quiz. Ready? The lesson quiz can be assigned, okay? And the important piece about this is this check mark right here. Because when you have that turned on and you send this lesson quiz out to students, it's going to grade the quiz for you, and then it's going to automatically assign remediation and enrichment activities. Let me say that again. It's going to automatically grade it. Then if you have this check, it's going to automatically send remediation or enrichment activities to the students that need it. Now, Chris, you're wondering, Chris, what does it send to the students? It's going to send one of these three pieces that I'm putting in green check beside. It's going to send our strugglers a sheet that deals with reteaching. To our functioning students that are right there with us that seem to be doing pretty good, okay? It's going to, excuse me, I'm sorry. Let me take that one off. It's going to send our struggling students a reteach sheet. Our on-level students, it's going to send some additional practice, a Math Excel piece, okay, where they can still go back and get that help if it's asynchronous time, okay? And they're going to send an additional practice sheet to some of the students that need it. But then the important one, let's not forget about our kids that need a push. It's going to send an enrichment piece of Math Excel to them. Differentiation doesn't just deal with our struggling students. Let's all remember that. We have enrichment students that need that push also for that differentiation. So it's going to send one of these pieces to those students, okay? I tell you what, let me put the correct checks on because the purple and blues are different from each other. Oh, wait, excuse me. Hold on. Yeah, I want the blues checked. Because let me tell you something. The purples are PDFs, whereas the blues, okay, are the digital pieces that students can work on the computer. So I've got them checked correctly now. I apologize for that. So struggling students would get this reteach to build understanding activity. Our on-level students would get this additional practice sheet from Math Excel, and it's still going to offer them help. Then our enrichment students who the system feels like they have, need some challenges, it's going to send them this enrichment sheet. Now, the nice thing about that, you can always change these groups. You can go in and say, well, I think Chris actually struggled a bit more than he led on to today from this quiz that we've gotten back, so I'm going to change his group. You can always change that. Always, always, always. Okay? So once again, let me review. You're going to assign this lesson quiz, and as long as this check mark is marked, right, it's going to automatically assign remediation and enrichment. Okay? And those pieces are right here in the blue that it's going to assign to one of our three groups of students. Okay? It's all there for you. Another piece, okay? Mathematical literacy. We know math has its own language. So there's always a page dealing with mathematical literacy, okay? And yes, students, when you assign this, they can interact. We have a PDF editor in our program, in our platform, I should say, our Realize platform, where students can go in and interact with PDFs. So they will be able to complete this digitally, right? So that math vocabulary sheet is there. Go back to where I was. The last piece I want to show you at this lesson level is the virtual nerd. Okay? It's a cool little video that shows students how this topic is used in the real world, how it applies, okay? They can watch it, all righty? It's going to open in a new window, okay? Some of them are stored on a different platform, so you can go to them. But the Virtual Nerd is a nice little place where students can go and watch to see how triangle congruence is important in the world, okay? Where it is and how it's used, right? Now, here's the nice thing. The nice thing about all these resources I've shown you, let's say that you are using our program as a resource, okay, which is why the school district purchased it for you as a resource. This magnifying glass right here will always allow you to quickly research resources, okay? For the 6 through 8 teachers, I look for intervention lesson on fractions. That's one of their resources they have for differentiation. But let's look in here. Math, Excel, triangles. Let's see what Math Excel offers for triangles. And it's searching. Here we go, okay? Look at all of these results, okay? Now, it's basically a 10th grade program, so let's narrow it down by grade 10. And once again, it's searching. Here we go, okay? Here's all the Math Excel pieces, okay? And if you know that you're in that certain topic with triangles, you would know that it would be topic 2, okay, lesson 3. All right, so you can find the resources according to topic, okay? So that the magnifying glass is a nice little piece for you to add, for you to use as a resource to quickly find those resources for your differentiation, okay? You can also divide it down by the program. We have a Common Core version, which you guys use there in Jefferson County. And then we have just what we would refer to as a national version, the 2018 geometry program. So you can narrow it down by program also, just showing the Common Core, and it takes those other ones out that aren't in your program. Okay? So this magnifying glass is a quick little piece to find those resources. It's all there for you. Let's see here. Let's go to, I tell you what, let's do. Let's go to a student view, and I can show you how they interact with those pieces. Let me open up an incognito window, and I will log in through my student account. And let's look at it, what it looks like as a student view. Okay? They have the same 3 buttons, the browse, the classes, and the grades, where their test grades are going to come back. All right, and I'll focus more on this tab next week when I get into assessments. Okay? Classes, they're going to come here for their assignments, and they have 3 tabs. I haven't started 2 of them. 3 of them are in progress, and 1 I've completed and submitted. Let's go to the in progress, okay? Here's one that I submitted today for the 6 through 8 teachers. Okay? Tells them all about it, when it was started, when it's due, where to find it in their program if they wanted to go to it, but they would click here to open it. When a student opens an assignment, okay, they're going to see it as a page where they can read and interact. It can read it to them. That's another differentiation piece, is that it's going to read to them. Okay? But let's say we're working here, all righty? Here are some tools that students can use, okay? They have drawing capability, okay, with a pencil. They have text typing, okay, capability. And all of these features will be saved. They also have tools over here, okay? And your students and the 6 through 8 students have access to all of these Desmos pieces, okay? They have the additional math tools that I showed you earlier. Remember, it opens in a new window, okay? And 6 through 8 has quite a few more than the high school students do, okay? But let's go into the Desmos geometry just since we're dealing with triangles, and I'll show you it right quick. Okay. Polygons, okay, 1, 2, and 3. Let's and we'll go there. Okay. Let me click on it. There, we've made our triangle. Okay. We can take and manipulate all that and go through it, and you can play with it. You can transform it. Okay. And it gets into reflections and translations and all that nice geometry pieces that we all know that is covered in middle school and high school standards. Okay, so those Desmos activities, those Desmos geometry pieces, and the calculators are very nice for you to use with your students. Okay? So student PDFs are editable. They have ways that they can write on the PDFs. They'll have a toolbar up at the top where they would be able to edit the PDF. So that's all there for them. Couple of extra pieces since I've got a few moments. Ready? Looking at the JCPS instructional framework. Okay. This is for the secondary math, 6 through 12. Right here in the Explore and Apply, okay, all right, it gets into independent practice, okay, mentioning it right in here. And like here, let me get my pointer. There we go. The guided or independent practice mentioned right there. So all of these pieces that I've shown you for differentiation, okay, can be synchronous. They can be asynchronous, okay? Remember, those Math Excel pieces are good for students with that independent practice time. They will be able to get into that and still get help on their own, okay? It's there for them. And grappling with interesting or complex problems. Linda's session this morning with her K2 teachers talked about grappling. At Savas, we call it productive struggle, okay? So it's into these routines and procedures that you guys implement into your instruction. Our program is there to help you, to provide you resources to capture these routines and pieces of instruction for your students, okay? So we're wanting you to use this as a resource. Now, going from here into the Padlet that I've created, okay, you'll see our Padlet that I've shared with the other Savas JCPS instructional coaches, and we've each got our own section. In my section right here, the first thing you'll find is my flyer, okay? This is where you can contact me. Then I have a 6 through 8 JCPS instructional framework, but then I get to your piece, the AGA piece. And what I have done is I've taken those areas of your instructional framework, okay? And from that, and I probably ought to go back and check these and update them in case I've thought of any more pieces. I've taken that and I've matched up our Envision components into these areas of your instructional framework. The review and focus section, the guide and engage section, okay? The explore, apply, and then finally the synthesize and reflect, okay? I've also included a section on remediation and intervention that I've covered today on this sheet. And then I've also included a section on assessment and enrichment, which is also the differentiation into the pieces of our Envision program that you can use, okay? Then the last piece, I've got a section on teacher resources within Envision, where you can find those pieces, all right? Then I've developed a sheet. I've developed a sheet on Envision math program and the 8 mathematical practices, okay? All right, and it's all in there also for you. So that's a nice Padlet that we created, and there are my math resources that I've got for you. In addition, here's our Twitter page that I mentioned earlier, okay? At JCPS_P is our team Twitter page, so it's there for you. So follow us. We share some neat things from Savas when they shared Savas Learning when they share it out, we're always sure to retweet it, so it's there for you. Also, let me show you this. And I didn't mention this to the 6 through 8, but Savvis has its own YouTube channel. So whenever you're needing help, if you want to work on your own, Savvis has many videos for you to go through and see if you can help. It can help you with something. Okay, so if you're searching for the Envision Math program, okay, it's got a few videos in here for you. Okay, to tell you about the program and a few things on that you got to see and how you can use the program. So Savvis has our own YouTube channel available to you also. So anyhow, I've enjoyed my time today talking about differentiation pieces. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter. Feel free to email us. We're always happy to work with you. We're here for you, and happy to help you with this resource that the district has purchased for all of its teachers during this virtual time of instruction. One question that I got the other day in my session with Ramsey Middle School: Chris, will we still have access to this when we go back to in-school instruction? The answer is yes, and the also additional answer is yes, we will still be there to help you. So even when you do go back to face-to-face, you will have access to this program, to all of the Savvis programs, and you will still have access to all of our instructional coaches to help you implement it and understand the pieces of it. So Elaine,
Yes.
that's going to be it for me today. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, but thank you for allowing us on here today.
Oh, of course, of course. And you guys all as a team did amazing, and I really appreciate you got all of the wealth of knowledge, and some of the really important little tidbits are some things that just get people hung up, and those are important too. If you are watching this on live, we will see you back at 12:30. On demand, make sure that you check out those resources that are in the video links below, as well as they're linked on the schedule. And anytime, live or with the power of pause, just go ahead and tweet out what you've learned so that others can learn from you as well with those hashtags of Savvis, as well as hashtag JCPSDigIn. So till 12:30, everyone go and enjoy the inauguration, and make sure that you tune back in at 12:30. Thank you, guys.